Welcome once again to Dialogue on Public Issues. I'm John Chowning with Campbellsville University. Today I'm interviewing a good friend and colleague, Ron McMahan, the Executive Director of the Campbellsville-Taylor County Economic Development Authority, also known in the marketing sense as Team Taylor County. Ron, welcome.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate you having me. Always excited to come and be on your show and talk about the good things going on in Taylor County.
Well, tell us a little bit about your duties as Executive Director of the Authority.
A whole lot of those. You being one of the board members, I have a whole lot of duties delegated my way, but primarily we work with existing business, trying to make it easy to do business in Taylor County and Kentucky, and if there's any national issues, try to expand local business, help them with job training, and we also work to recruit new businesses to our community and help with small business startup, entrepreneurial activities to create economic impact in our county.
So your job is basically to make it run, to make it go, to be the cheerleader, advocate.
Our agency is, and I am the go-to person that the existing business would call if they have issues, red flag issues, good or bad, things that we may be able to assist them with to make business easier and to help them expand or help them with a regulatory issue, whether it's a state or federal level. And also work as the primary point of contact when the Cabinet for Economic Development or a national site selection consultant or commercial real estate broker brings a company or is looking to bring a company to Kentucky, and hopefully we make their list and they visit our community. So I would be the main point of contact for that also.
Now, there are some people who still think that companies locate, they call the governor, and that they locate in county A, B, or C, depending on where the governor tells them to come, and whether county A, B, or C voted the right way in the last election. Is that true or not?
That's not true. I've been in this current position almost 15 years and been in economic development almost 25 years, and that wasn't the case way back then.
Right.
Most companies, even 25 years ago, were looking at the lowest cost place to do business, and that even that far back, they were looking at transportation, logistics, labor cost, available labor, available land, available buildings. So if you don't have any of the above, it doesn't matter who wants the company in your community or who's assisting. If it doesn't work out in their scope or matrix of the best location to be, it doesn't work out.
40 years ago when I moved here, somebody told me right after a governor's race, and I won't get into which way it went, but they said, Taylor County always votes the wrong way, and that's why we never get anything, and I just kind of smiled. But anyway, moving on. The marketing phrase, we talk a lot about Team Taylor County, and we use that for 20 years or so. What does that mean, basically, when we tend to use that more so than we do the Campbellsville-Taylor County Economic Development Authority?
Yeah, that's quite wordy.
Yeah.
Team Taylor County is our marketing name of everyone in this community working together. The Economic Development Authority, the Chamber of Commerce, Tourism, Greater Campbellsville United, Community Ventures, area school systems, the university, the hospital, area employers, and local downtown businesses, just all working together to help move Taylor County forward. If there's any issue that we can assist any of those other agencies with, we're right there at the table just assisting one another just to move us forward.
It's actually been pretty successful, don't you think?
The
marketing concept, the marketing aspect of that.
Team Taylor County is known nationwide and statewide in our governmental agencies and is very highly respected.
It doesn't mean that we always agree, doesn't mean everything is hunky-dory and perfect in Campbellsville, Taylor County, but it means for the most part that people come together.
Exactly.
When needed.
There's always room for improvement in any organization or agency, but yes, when it comes to trying to create an economic opportunity or help create jobs, quality of life, everybody here works very well together.
There are communities, and I won't call any names, but there are communities that a prospective industry or the cabinet, let me rephrase this, that the Economic Development Cabinet, for example, they don't necessarily know who to contact, even today, even in 2020, because there may be 2 or 3 different people that claim to be the contact or want to be the contact. Comment on that.
well-
I'm sure you experienced that when you were the cabinet.
When I did community development and economic development for the cabinet many years ago, there would be 3 or 4 organizations or individuals in some smaller communities that were still doing economic development from the 60s and 70s. And the cabinet always wants a main point of contact that
Right.
can speak for and get everyone together in the community to help make a decision that might need to be made, but sort of has a long leash and can speak for the community agencies, the community elected officials, and get everyone on the same page and come to an equitable solution for any existing company or a new locating company.
And from day one with Team Taylor County, the authority, that has been the case.
It has.
We made that the case from day one, that you had to be that person in Campbellsville, Taylor County.
The board did a good job setting that up, I think, in 1999, 2000 with the previous director, and then when I came on board back in my hometown in 2005. We have worked to continue to improve that, but there's not a whole lot of improvement that I see we can do working as a board and a community together. It works very well, flows great.
Past year has been a pretty good year. Tell us about some of the accomplishments in Campbellsville, Taylor County.
Yes, 2019 was very good to us. We had a long-time existing company that's been here over 20 years, Frost Arnett, chose to invest in our community instead of leasing a building for 20 years. They have purchased a building. They have bricks and mortar investment in our community, had around 200 jobs, and with this expansion, they have committed to 135 additional new jobs, and they have the extra capacity in the building that if they can get the proper contracts, additional contracts, and continue to get a highly skilled workforce to want to work for them, they could get up to a maximum of 400 positions in that building. So hopefully in the next 4 to 5 months, they'll be up to 300, 330, 340 full-time employees. So a great company to have in the community.
And they are in process now bringing new people on board, right?
They are. They moved into their new building in late November, early December of 2019, and I think they hired 25 folks last week, had a job fair, and they're looking to have another one sometime in late April to May, I believe. And then also exciting, we had a new company choose to locate in Campbellsville in Taylor County in an existing building. It was a 22-month process from the first phone call until they made the decision to locate here as opposed to other Kentucky locations or several surrounding states. Very good company. Advanced manufacturing, heavy manufacturing. They are in the midst of doing some renovations inside their building, tearing out some walls. We'll be putting in $11 million worth of equipment. It's, I think, scheduled to be delivered to site in the next coming weeks. And they have also posted quite a few job ads on their website, and we'll be hosting an open house on Campbellsville University's campus, I think, on January the 28th or 29th, and have invited everyone that has applied so far to come and meet them, and anyone else that would like to apply. So, the way you apply for those jobs, again, is on their website, mantank.com, and they are looking to hire as many local people as they can, good hardworking manufacturing skills, and they're also looking to attract as many Taylor County folks that travel out of the community. Their number one goal is to get as top-notch employees, but they really want to try to recruit some of those folks that drive out of the community for employment daily to be able to stay home and live and work here.
Now, their wage rates are going to be pretty good, aren't they?
They're still working on their wage scales and haven't announced that publicly, but they have always talked about they tend to be in the top 80 to 90% of the pay scale or higher, depending on the job classification. So, very nice company. I think any community in the state would have would have welcomed them.
And they're locating in what I still call the Batesville building.
The Batesville building, former Clare Corps building, yes, a 238,000 square foot building on New Columbia Road.
How, in general, without going into detail and divulging any information that you can't, are our other businesses doing, our other industries doing? in general?
I try to have at least quarterly or more often existing business visits with our largest employers, our manufacturers, our non-manufacturing service type employers. I have uncovered no red flag issues in any visits or phone calls. I know of nothing negative that could be happening, but that doesn't mean something could happen tomorrow. That's why a community needs an established economic development authority, a team,
Right.
to always look at the next company, because there's going to be future unemployment. You just don't know when, you just don't know who, as product life cycles change and companies lose contracts. So it's very important to just continuously look to replenish workforce as there could be, as there are layoffs or plant closures that all communities experience at some time or another.
Another project that my viewers have heard me speak of often, and I'm kind of known as the agitator for among some of the politicians in Washington and Frankfurt, and that you've been very involved in through the years, and some major successes in 2019 that you've been engaged in. Give us an update on the Heartland Parkway.
We were very successful as a regional collaboration with Marion County to receive an $8.9 million grant from the federal government, the BUILD program. It was a joint effort. We used our 18-20 year collaboration, Heartland Parkway Foundation, amongst our 4 counties, Adair, Taylor, Marion, and Washington County. And in this application, it was Marion and Washington County that applied. The $8.9 million will be matched with some state matching funds, and our local city and county governments in Marion and Taylor also had to have some skin in the game. To finish up a 13.4 mile section of the Heartland Parkway between the city of Campbellsville and the city of Lebanon. So we should have that 2+1 concept from the Cumberland Parkway all the way through Adair to the city of Springfield, hopefully completed within the next couple of years with this federal grant. And I know a portion of the Campbellsville bypass is already underway, and that construction will start next spring. And we're hoping our current 2020 legislative session we can be successful and try to get some funding of some measure for the second leg of the Campbellsville bypass, and then the remaining 4.1 mile section from the Marion Washington County line into the city of Springfield.
Okay.
So that would complete our corridor as best we can at this moment with the traffic count and the population growth that we have.
Now, the section from basically the Adair County line, or from Coburg into Campbellsville, will be finished in the spring?
Yes, as soon as the weather breaks and the asphalt plants reopen in the spring and construction can start, they will start excavating, I guess, on the most southern portion. They did a northern portion of that 8 to 10 mile section in the from summer to fall. That portion was finished up, so I think from the Green River Hill Bridge to the Adair County line will be what they would start on that section.
And then there's some more to be done in between, or on the home, from the home place.
There is a small
There's
portion.
a section there to be.
Ran out of time and weather related issues.
I've gotten a couple of calls about that. You know, have they stopped, or when are they going to get back? But that project has, as you said, in 2020 will be 2 decades from our first meeting that was held here on the campus of Campbellsville University. And it's a commentary on the time it takes to get projects of that magnitude done in today's environment.
Yes, it's a very long timeline, and regional coalitions across county lines working together to help spread state and federal resources and local resources further. So coalitions and working together across regional boundaries
And
are the name of the game.
lines. And political lines.
And political lines.
Political party lines.
It has been a 20-year coalition of both parties in multiple counties working together under different governors and different U.S. congressmen and senators.
Absolutely. Now, who are the major employers now in Campbellsville, Taylor County?
Our top 3 would be Amazon, the Campbellsville University, and Taylor Regional Hospital.
Okay.
Sometimes Campbellsville University and Taylor Regional Hospital are almost equal, or maybe plus or minus 10 or 20, depending on seasonal employees. when the semester ends. But generally, it's Amazon, Taylor Regional Hospital, and Campbellsville University sort of battling it out for 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
We have around 12,500
Okay.
working population out of our county population of 20,500, plus or minus 10 or 15 with the latest estimates. So about half of our employment, our population works. I think the latest labor force participation rate number that I could find for this interview is 54% of our population is a working population.
How does that compare in general terms to the rest of Kentucky and to the rest of the nation? Pretty
much in line with Kentucky. It's a little less than the U.S. labor market participation rate. They tend to be in the high. It tends to be in the high 50s to low 60s on a nationwide level, and in the mid to high 50s on a state level. So we're a few percentage points behind the state level, but not far off for the target.
Kentucky as a whole ranks toward the bottom, if I'm not mistaken, in the bottom 5
probably
or so,
bottom 5, bottom 5, bottom
in terms
10%.
of percentage of labor participation.
Exactly.
It's a major issue.
It is a major issue. That's the whole reason for an economic development organization in any community, large or small, rural or urban, is to move that community's economic opportunities and move that community's standard of living to hopefully attain your state level if you're not there or you aren't higher than the state level, and then to keep on working to that high goal of the U.S. Economic level.
What can be done? What can be done? What should be done to increase that labor participation rate as a community?
I think the existing employers and our education partners, local high schools, area technology centers, and centers of higher education, as you know, sitting here on the Campbellsville University's campus, working together, collaborating. The education partners wanting to know what the employers need, and the employers needing to know what opportunities for training, certificate programs, associate degrees, bachelor degrees, that the employers need to help find highly skilled workers in the community.
About how many jobs would you say are currently in the local economy in Taylor County? About how many jobs need to be filled at this point in time, approximately?
I would say that there's probably 500 to 700, maybe 750 jobs that I just know of. There could be others in maybe small retail operations.
Right.
But generally in the larger employer, anyone probably 50 and larger in the community, there's probably a need for backfilling. Several companies are doing some major hiring now. Our new company, our expanded company, but most everyone is in the maintaining with retirements or folks leaving employment. 500, 700 employees would do everybody a great service if we could come up with that amount.
So, contrary to what some may say, not you, but there's always the adage, and it's not unique to Campbellsville. About, I guarantee you, 90% of the communities you might go into, if you did a poll, a public opinion poll, what you need would be jobs. We need jobs, and if you pin people down, well, we need better jobs.
Exactly.
And of course we all
everybody always wants to better themselves.
We all want better jobs,
sure,
of course, but there are a number of jobs that need to be filled in this community. There's opportunity out there for those that are looking to work.
There is opportunity, and that brings up another point, an urban myth in our community, and all communities suffer from this urban myth. Jobs EQ, a national demographics agency, I think, of course, this changes every month with employment, unemployment, who's moving around in the country, but their latest estimate from several months ago was around 3,800 people drive into Taylor County for employment each day, and around 2,600 people drive out of Taylor County for employment each day. So we are not a bedroom community, contrary to some urban myths in the community.
There's that notion
about 6,200, 6,300 people live and work in Taylor County. So that comes up to that about 12,500 working population out of our 20,500 county population. So hopefully our new company and our expanding company can help pull some of those folks if they are paying a decent higher wage than what they're making out of the community, a living wage, and to save on gas, transportation costs, and time for driving. Hopefully they can recruit some of those Taylor County residents to come home and find better employment.
So the facts are about 1,200 more people drive into Campbellsville, Taylor County daily to work than drive out of Campbellsville daily to go elsewhere to work.
Yes, sir. Another one of my board members, Ms. Jane Wheatley at Taylor Regional Hospital, the CEO there, one of my longtime board members, good board members, she tells me that roughly low 40, 42, 43% of the employees at Taylor Regional Hospital drive in from outside of the Taylor County line daily for employment at Taylor Regional Hospital. And the same number of admissions, 42, 43, 44%, depending on what time of the year and what year. 40-some% of the admissions are from outside of the Taylor County line. So we are a region, we are a hub, we are a regional economy for employment, medical, education, retail, and transport, and for tourism and I guess activities.
Those driving in to work pay payroll taxes to the city and county.
Yes, sir.
Those that drive in pay water and sewer, or help generate water and sewer user fees. They buy gasoline, they buy groceries, they buy clothes, they eat in our restaurants.
It's folks that drive into a community, or if they stop on the way in or out for gas or lunch, or to shop at a retail store, it would be like a one-day tourism person coming to your community.
And Campbellsville, Taylor County is about the only county in this economic area, in this hub area, that is growing. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, sir. I think over the last 10 years, some numbers, I don't have them in front of me, that I came up with some recent release of numbers last year by the U.S. Census Bureau, that we had grown about 4.2, 4.3% in the last 10 years.
Right.
One or two of the counties that are adjacent to us are in greater than 1%. A couple are at 2 or 3, but several of our local regional labor market, retail market area haven't been as successful, and they do have a slight declining population. So again, we hope we can keep growing and continue to offer job opportunities for our citizens, and as the numbers show, for citizens outside of our community. They come in
and while that may not seem like a lot of growth, it is growth.
It is
and
growth.
To some extent, steady growth is better than rapid growth.
Rapid growth, anything over 2.5% a year, challenges a community's tax base for improvements for housing, roads, infrastructure, subdivisions, water and sewer lines to new employers. So too much growth can cause increases in taxes to keep up with the growth and to keep up with the progress. So 1.5% is a good steady growth rate, and we have historically been about 0.75 to 1% for the last 20 years.
Right.
And that's what the U.S. Census Bureau several years ago came out there predicting us to do for the next 10 to 20 years.
I was going to say that
steady
is the
growth.
Continued projection toward 2040, 2050,
Yes,
as I
sir.
recall. And so that's something, and we could probably afford a little more growth. I mean, a little increase in the growth rate.
Exactly.
And still be okay.
Yes.
But if we get much above that, then we're beginning, as you say, we struggle with infrastructure and our schools
Affordable
keeping
housing.
up, affordable housing in places like Scott County and other places, Oldham County. They've really struggled with our school districts and tax bases keeping up with the growth.
Yes, on interstate highways and near parkways, and even with all of the economic impact and all the economic growth, the cost of expansion and the cost of growth is a great burden sometimes.
Now, we have heard over the last few years a lot of debate and discussion about international trade and the politics of international trade. We won't delve into the pros and the cons of international trade policy,
Right.
particularly on this issue, on this interview. But I want our viewers to understand that we, even in southern Kentucky, in a rural area, albeit a micropolitan community that Campbellsville is, that is a growth community with 10,000 or more population, are international companies. Comment on that.
We have 5 international companies
Okay.
in our community from all over the globe. And several of those all of those are on our major employers list. So to be as rural as we are in the United States, a rural area, and in Kentucky, a distance from interstate highways and metropolitan areas of population of 100,000 or more, we do pretty well for a rural area. Most all of our companies, whether they are United States owned, locally owned, or international, they all are importing parts. Several export some of their finished goods. And trade issues can be some things that would be hampering some business growth now, but it usually gets back to available labor and transportation and logistics costs that are the company's 2 largest expenses to do business. And it depends on which year and which corporations you talk to. Is it labor cost or is it transportation cost? Getting their raw materials in and their finished goods out to market. So anytime we can get direct foreign investment into our community and further diversify our employers is a good thing.
The real point I'm making here is not to get into a debate. Again, I'll do a separate interview sometime on protectionism and the merits of tariffs and so on, and get a good debate going. The point I'm making is that even in Campbellsville, Taylor County, we're dependent upon a glable economy.
Oh, yes.
We have connections both in terms of companies and ownership as well as the flow of goods and materials.
Regional boundaries just in Kentucky and the United States are a thing of the past. It is a global economy with shipping and logistics. It is truly a global economy. Some of our trade issues have slowed down business growth, not just in Campbellsville, Taylor County, but statewide and nationwide. So
we're down to about 30 seconds. Just very quickly, are you optimistic about the future for our community?
I think our community is doing very well. We have several prospects looking at some available land, our build-ready sites in the community. Hopefully we will make the short list in 2020, and they won't take 22 months from inception to completion. We hope to make that short list. But yes, we do have good things looking up with our transportation and logistics improvements, with our federal grant, our new ATC joint partnership with Green, Taylor, and Campbellsville school systems and Campbellsville University to provide training to high school students and adult education in the evening.
Heartland Commerce and Technology Park, which you touched on, but a great asset to us.
Yes, a great asset. We have a build-ready pad ready to put up a 100,000 square foot building as soon as the company would buy the property.
Yep. Ron McMahan, CEO and Executive Director of Team Taylor County.
Thank you, sir.
John Chowning, thanking him and our viewers for being with us for Dialogue on Public Issues.